everyone.
Carol is already working on that. Fifth floor thing, right? The fifth floor thing, you need that? Yes, but we're making marks.
Brilliant. Early Saturday morning. I see smiling faces. But the silly thing is, today we're going to be celebrating failure. Right. Welcome at the first postmortem in Hong Kong. Well, globally I would say. When I spoke to Jeffrey, the idea was fairly interesting. He goes, yeah, everyone likes to hear the stories, not a 100 million, another billion buyout and all that sort of stuff. That's good. But you get all those hallelujah stories. But what do you really pick up from that? Often the thing I hear is, well, someone was lucky. They were at the right place at the right time, talking to the right people. Good stuff. The thing you don't hear is all the stories that are behind that. The people that are working their butts off, sacrificing life saving, selling their houses, renting out the children to play with and all that sort of stuff in order to sort of like achieve the dreams. So they decided, let's take a look at things from a different angle and see what is the stuff that doesn't always work well. Yeah? What are the things that go south? What are the things that people bang their heads against the walls? All those smiling co-founders that if you turn around, you just want to kick them off the building. Investors you look at and you go, well, I wish I'd never talked to this guy before, right? So, a whole series of speakers lined up that are going to be looking from all different angles, and we encourage them to open up. So we've been massaging them and bribing them and making sure that we didn't have to sign any confidential statements. We're going to be bribing you guys today to ask questions and to learn, because you paid money for it, so you might as well use your time beneficial, right? So we've got a whole bunch of motivators over here to help you guys to sort of like come up with some interesting questions. A few logistics things. We're going to have a break a little bit later on, but in case you have a call of nature, just turn around, run out, and you will see a few signs. It's about a 30 to 40 second walk. Social media, always important. The hashtags, go for it, take photos, share things, keep tweeting like no tomorrow. And again, interrupt speakers if you've got any questions. So, talking about speakers, I've heard myself speaking long enough for this morning. So, Jeff, you ready? Yes. Good. Gentlemen and ladies, a quick welcome for Mr. Jeffrey.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. Glad you could find it. There's still some people on the way. I just got a call that somebody couldn't find it. So, but we're just starting. We had great fun in organizing this. Martin and I, when I pitched the idea to Martin, he says like, yes, this is great. This is what we're going to do. And we had a lot of fun doing this. So we also learned already a lot because of our failures. This is all about failures. So we have some things that we today going to share. Some of the speakers are going to be very personal. Some of the speakers are going to be very technical. Some of the speakers are going to be broad about general product pivots. We're going to be speakers about choosing your founders and the failures that you can have in there. We have even the speaker doing about failed gadgets later on today. So different levels, very interesting, some about history, some about current events. So we hope that you will learn from that. And if you have questions, like Marcel said, don't hesitate to ask them. We have indeed very interesting goodies around. One of the other things that we have for today is we have the worst startup idea. Tweet your worst startup idea. Tweet it out this morning. During lunchtime, we're going to pick the worst startup idea, and in the afternoon, one of the speakers is going to pitch that worst startup idea. Yeah, so that's going to be fun. We don't take ourselves almost too seriously at that point. So think of the worst startup idea that you can think of and tweet it out. Also for the winner of that, we're going to give away some interesting goodies. Yeah? So use the hashtag #WorstStartupIdea, tweet it out, Facebook for pets, air hooks that you can just put up in the air and then you can lift something with it. Something like that, just tweet it out. Like I said, a little bit of history with Martin. I think it was around maybe 2 months ago when we thought about organizing this. So we had very short time in doing this first one. Everything, we weren't sure about anything. We didn't know how many people were coming. We didn't know where we were going to keep it. We didn't know who the speakers would be. But first of all, I want to thank all the speakers that are confirmed for today. They're great. They have interesting stories to tell, and they really came through for us. So the first thing is postmortem. What is postmortem? Beside of doing, let's say, a postmortem on a body that deceased, there's also, it's a process to identify what went well and what went wrong in the process. So it's a little bit project management related. After a project, you just stand there and go like, okay, this is what we learned from this, and how can we do better next time? So that's where the term postmortem comes from. But also, and what you also will hear from from some of the speakers, is mea culpa. And mea culpa, that's actually Latin for through my fault. That's the kind of English translation for it. It's not 100% correct, but it says more. It basically says like, through my fault, we did this. So mea culpa, my fault, no problem, but I learned from this. Yeah? So some mea culpas will be shared today by some of the speakers. And of course, we couldn't have done this without sponsors. We have some interesting sponsors for today. One of them is Cyberport. We're going to hear from the CTO of Cyberport later on in a few minutes from now. He's going to explain a little bit what Cyberport is and what they do. But also we have Uber as a sponsor, and that's not that strange because they sponsor everything, every event. But the interesting thing is they only sponsor on their KPI, and that's new users. So it's always like 200 Hong Kong dollar if you're a new user for a free ride. We upped that to 250, so $50 more. But also very interesting, we got a existing user discount of 20% for today. So if you leave this from here, you can have a 20% discount if you book an Uber from Cyberport to anywhere else in Hong Kong that you want. It's valid until like 9 p.m. The codes will be shared in the sponsor slide during the fireside chat, so you can see the details for that later on. Then I want to ask David, the CTO of Cyberport, to come over and do a little talk about Cyberport.
Thank you. And Marty, well, welcome to Cyberport. I think when we try to come up with failure, so and then try how we learn from this to come to what we have achieved today is a very hard journey. So I kind of roll back a bit how we get start all this startup program. I think what you are located here is actually our almost 8 years of hard effort to provide this space for the startup community. So from the very beginning, actually, the government trying to put up this Cyberport project is really to serve a lot of ICT companies. So the big guys like IBM, Microsoft is, CSL, Cisco is part of our so-called traditional tenant. And then I joined this company around 2004 after I sold my own startup company. And then, basically at that time, my CEO understand I have this, startup passion, and then he basically give me an assignment saying, hey, David, you are IT head, right? So why don't you pick up some of your peer skill that did the startup and then come up with a proposal for setting up an incubation program. And that process actually took me about 1.5 years to raise the funding, about a little bit over 32 million of Hong Kong dollar to set up this place. It's not easy because at that time, Cyberport is heavily in debt. We're basically a lot of cash flow positive. So we need to look outside for funding. And then at that time, we are asking for Innovation Technology Commission for their funding. And then luckily enough, they liked our proposal. And then we got the first batch of funding for just 3 years. We didn't know that we're going to success or not, because after that 3 years, if they stop the funding, this project is actually going to end. And I still remember at that time when we asked for application to enter to our program, we hardly can get over 50 applications. 50, 50. Okay? Imagine today we are actually getting about 400. So it's like 10 times more demand. Back in 2005, for startup, we still don't have iPhone, by the way. Okay? Imagine at that time, iTunes is not yet easy for you to download your apps. There's no app at all. At that time. So imagine back in 2005, if you are startup in Hong Kong, you basically no cloud computing. Okay? So just FYI, if you are just new in the game, right? So back at that time, to get a startup is basically you need to buy everything, and then the loading is pretty high. The so-called the entry to the game is not that easy. So, but all in all, we managed to finish the phase 1 of this project, and then I can go back to the Legislative Council to get a second batch of funding because they like the program, and then we have some success. And we are very much focusing on digital entertainment, gaming industry at that time, so very niche market, but we managed to come up with some mobile gaming, at that time. So we managed to convince the Legislative Council to get me another 24 million of Hong Kong dollar. Okay, another 3 years. So 3 and 3, that's 6 years. So now, after all these years, I managed to convince my board, to use our own money. Okay, so I no longer need to go back to the Legislative Council to raise more money. Okay, basically the board is giving me around 60 million a year to do all these startup projects. Okay, so again, I think the message I want to deliver is if you believe in something, you need to do it. You need to persuade us, and then you need to take up a lot of challenge. Even an organization like ourselves, you thought that we are very resourceful, and as a matter of fact, no, we are treating ourselves as a startup every day. So, for example, we launched a microfund project about 3 years ago, is to help us to get better quality of projects get into our incubation program, because garbage in, garbage out, right? So we need to reach out to a lot of community. We are even go to university to do a lot of roadshow. It's a tough job, to work with university. Trust me, right? So we need to go into each of the university to go in to back them. Hey, you have any student want to start up? I have resources. Come to join us. No application. Okay, so we need to go all the way to do a lot of groundwork to find school ambassador for us. We actually recruit school ambassador. We need to pay each of the students if they can refer 10 applications to us. Okay, we go all the way. Okay, this is how we try to go into. Of course, we no need to do it today, but at that time, we're very hard to work with any of the university because every institution has the silo thinking. Okay, and we try to reach out. We want to share, and then it's very hard. At the same time, we try to build up our accelerator support program, and we just launched it this year. As long as they are top-notch accelerator accept our startup company, we will have provide top-up funding for them. Because as a startup, you get being accepted by 500 startup or YC. Shit, you don't have money. Okay, you don't have, they will not provide a cash flow for you to relocate yourself. Even if you have a great chance to success, you don't have the money, you don't have the resources. It's tough. So we provide this top-up funding. If we have the startup company get accepted, we'll pay them another 300,000. So it's good enough for them to survive. At least no need to. I hear a lot of story that a twin brother share a bed. In Silicon Valley. It's tough. Life is tough. I know startup journey is tough, but we want to make sure that a decent safety net we can provide. So hopefully we can smooth out the startup journey and make sure that much continuous supply of resources can let them last longer. Like ourselves. If without this, over $50 million of money from the government, there's no entrepreneurship center. Full stop. Okay. So anyway, I think I take too much of time, and then I think we have a lot of great speaker lineup. If you want, to connect, and then Martin, Jeff is our great alum, and from our program. I'm looking forward to hear more of your stories. And then try to share some of our success and failure with you all. In the future. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you.